going to Copenhagen. This is a little solo trip to Copenhagen. I'm in Aarhus right now and it's 7 a.m. Sun's coming up and I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. So come along with me. I took the Flixbus from Aarhus to Copenhagen. The journey was about 3.5 hours long, and we had to cross over several bridges that allow passage through the various islands that make up the country. We crossed the Great Belt Bridge, which is an impressive architectural feat. The bridge spans over 18 kilometers in length and connects two of the major Danish islands, Zealand and Fyn. I eventually arrived at my hostel, dropped my bags off in a locker as check-in was not available yet, and headed out to explore the city. I made it to Copenhagen. This is the famous Flea Gardens. Yeah, I made it. I dropped off my suitcase. Now I'm in search of coffee because I haven't had any today and I'm really feeling it, which is not ideal, but you know what, it is what it is. So now, let's go try out my first Copenhagen cafe. My first stop was Sonny Cafe. I had heard good things about their matcha, but the prices were pretty steep, even for Copenhagen standards. So I went for a black coffee instead, as it was only the beginning of my trip, and I didn't want to break the bank right from the get-go. After walking around a bit and seeing the city hall, I ended up in a park. I won't even try to pronounce the name, and I had my lunch while taking in all the beautiful surroundings. It was Sunday after all, so I couldn't pass up the opportunity to visit one of the many flea markets around the city. There were so many people around, all dressed effortlessly cool, while they wandered between the fashionable vendors, offering their stylish pieces straight from their own closets. There was loads to see, and it was all a bit overwhelming honestly, but somehow I managed to pick up a few pieces at a great price. After all that strenuous browsing, I was in desperate need of a sweet treat, so I stopped at Mayo's Baguette to pick up one of their famous cinnamon buns. A cemetery might seem like an unusual place to visit, but it contained the grave of Hans Christian Andersen, or H.C. Andersen as everyone seems to call him. The Danish author's legendary fairy tales are known throughout the world, and I was quite intrigued to stumble upon his final resting place. I then ventured back into the city in the direction of my hostel, but I could not resist stopping over in a few vintage stores along the way. After another quick stop at the botanical gardens, I made it to my hostel and got my room key. I had booked a stay in a female 6-bed dorm, where we each had our own little cozy pods to sleep in. There was also a shower and a separate bathroom with a toilet and a sink for us to share. Once I had more or less settled in, I went for a walk to explore the surroundings and find a nice place to eat my dinner. I left the hostel bright and early on Monday morning and strolled to the King's Garden on the way to breakfast. I found it so surprising how in Denmark, all the royal palaces and gardens are extremely accessible to the public. Pretty much anyone can walk through the surroundings without there needing to be guards patrolling the scene. Because of this, it's no surprise that the royal family is generally well liked here, and they are seen as simply other members of the community. New day. I'm in the King's Garden. Just taking it all in, really. Of course, I went straight to Atelier September to try their famous almond pancake, and it did not disappoint. I took my time to slowly savour it while reading my book. This year I've been making a conscious effort to read more modern classics, and Nabokov's Lolita is my most recent acquisition. I just had breakfast and now I am heading off to do some exploring. I'm gonna see the famous Little Mermaid, which is like, I guess, the basic thing to do in Copenhagen. I'm just looking at all the beautiful houses. It's early, so there's not many people around, which is actually ideal. I'm really enjoying this. Frederick's Church, or the Marble Church, lies across the road from Amalienborg, which is the official residence of the Danish royal family. The complex consists of 4 palaces, all built around an octagonal courtyard, with the statue of King Frederick V at the centre. Even though it was still early, there were plenty of other tourists all scrambling to get their picture taken in front of the Little Mermaid. This bronze statue by Edward Eriksson shows the mermaid in the process of becoming human. This statue is a beloved symbol of Copenhagen, and she has been diligently restored after suffering multiple acts of vandalism during various political protests over the years. The iconic statue is located just outside the walls of Castellet, one of the best preserved fortresses in Northern Europe. The star-shaped citadel is still an active military site, but it's also a public park, and it offers both panoramic and evidently strategic views over the city. Copenhagen's new harbour, and it's undoubtedly one of the most photographed streets in all of Copenhagen. The cosy canal, flanked by the colourful houses and traditional restaurants, make it a popular spot among tourists and locals alike, especially when it's sunny. At 12 PM, I circled back to Amalienborg Palace to see the changing of the guards, which takes place every day at the same time. Even though some might argue that summer was over by then, I could not pass up the opportunity to visit La Banquina on a sunny day. I'd seen so many pictures of it online, so I was very intrigued to see what it was all about, and I was definitely not disappointed. The food was incredibly fresh. I got the grilled mackerel, which was cooked right before my eyes, and I was able to enjoy it anywhere I liked along the water. I wasn't sure if we were allowed to swim at first, but soon enough I saw some people brave the cold, so I put my book down and did the same. It was freezing, but so refreshing. On my way back into the city, I stopped in a Ghani Postmodern. They had loads of cool pieces, but unfortunately they were still very much out of my price range.
Okay, here comes another place. Please.
I didn't want to go back to my hostel just yet, so I booked a canal tour around the city and got to learn more about some of the buildings and landmarks.
Concept. People jump from the roof into the seawater. Arranged and sponsored by the energy drink Red Bull. Yeah, the energy drink Red Bull has a slogan. Red Bull's slogan is Red Bull gives you wings. On top of the church there is a golden globe and a golden figure of our Savior, Jesus Christ, hence the name, Our Savior's Church. The church is from 1696.
Hadlock. New day. It's my last full day. Tomorrow I'm leaving, but today I have a lot of things planned. Gonna hit up some museums, because yesterday I did a lot of sightseeing. So I think I've got a bit of a feel for the city. Not really, but you know. Today we'll be doing some museums, first up breakfast. And yeah, no sun today. I don't think it's gonna be sunny. Badass. Look at my hair. I have a cute little ribbon. A rainy walk through the kindergarten. It's not raining that bad, but for breakfast that day, I visited Apotek 57. Another gorgeous bakery and cafe, offering seasonal foods and fresh pastries. I got the traditional Danish breakfast to fuel me for another long day of sightseeing. First up was the Danish Design Museum, which showcased the history and impact of Danish design throughout the ages. It included all kinds of design exhibits, from products to graphics, clothing, and even furniture. Next up was the SMK, or the National Gallery of Denmark, which is the country's largest art museum, featuring Danish and foreign art ranging back from the 14th century all the way to the present day. It's raining. I am currently sheltering. But yeah, hopefully it won't last too long. This is the true Copenhagen weather, guys. We were blessed the past few days with this temperature. I visited a few vintage shops around with the excuse of staying out of the rain. It's my last day in Copenhagen. Sad times, but I've really loved it. It's been so beautiful. Today the weather's nice again, so I'm out for a walk to breakfast, of course, final breakfast. And yeah, just walking along the canal. Here's the Black Diamond, which is the main library, and it overlooks the water. And yeah, sun's out. I'm enjoying that. So many people about. People are swimming as well. The smallest hotel in Copenhagen, apparently. It only has one room. And this is Copenhagen, a heat and power plant that converts waste to clean energy and also doubles as a ski slope. For my last breakfast, I chose Lille Bakery, which is only open Wednesday to Sunday and serves exclusively organic and high quality foods made from the best local ingredients. My flight was only later in the evening, so I basically had nearly the full day to explore. Coincidentally, it was the last Wednesday of the month, which meant that some of the museums around the city were free that day. I made the most of it by first visiting the Thorvaldsen Museum, which houses the work of the Danish sculptor Bertel Thorvaldsen, who is the only non-Catholic artist with a piece in St. Peter's Basilica at the Vatican. Finally, I wandered into the Glyptotek, which showcases the private art collection of Carl Jacobsen, the founder of Carlsberg Breweries. It contained ancient as well as modern art, all centered around a well-preserved garden. Then it was time for me to say goodbye to Copenhagen and put an end to my first solo trip. I had an incredible time getting to explore the city at my own pace. I'd been planning on getting a famous burger from Gasoline Grill at the airport, but I didn't realize that the restaurant was past security. I planned to get there early and eat it before going through, so I had to settle for something else instead. I guess I have no choice but to go back someday.